Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Coming at you with the next excerpt of my first novel in a series, Black and White Odyssey of Eden, continuing where I left off last time. So let's have at this. I know you think it's hopeless, that this is the end of everything, but it's not. Humanity can survive. Don't give up. The officer curtly looked up, face darting from side to side, as if he had heard or seen a ghost. Perhaps he had, the scientist thought. All that remains of me is a shell of a man. You are not alone. Believe in humanity. The scientist's voice began to crack as he gently whispered into the officer's ear, struggling to fight back yet more tears. Invisible to him, his words were no more than mere mental pressure to the officer, as if calling something out of the man that had always been present, though he had been too fearful to admit or see. The fine sinews of a tapestry of hope that lit a dormant fire in the man's eyes. The officer pulled a sheathed scimitar from his waist and barked orders at his soldiers as the attack commenced. Terrified by the weight of the thoughts now bearing so heavily down upon him, the howitzer, now in the hands of enlisted men who were slowly towing it up a hill against the rain of bullets volleyed towards them by their American adversaries, was loaded with several 155mm mortars. Don't let the inertia control you. There's still a chance to change everything. Speaking directly to the man's emotions, he understood with perfect fidelity, despite any otherwise perceivable language barrier. Startled from these thoughts, flooding his mind seemingly out of nowhere, the officer stumbled, tearing his body in one direction and another, panting and grunting wildly as his scimitar flailed about. What in the hell is going on? Where are these thoughts coming from? And how come I never saw this before? He scolded to himself in a fury. There's only one way this battle will end. I'm sending them to their deaths, he thought to himself independently. Look at them, the children fleeing from your convoy, the mothers and fathers in utter terror at the sheer hopelessness of the situation. The officer looked at a child in the distance, right leg mutilated by the carnage, sobbing as he raised his arms for any adult that would take mercy upon him. It doesn't have to be this way. The Chinese officer stared at the child for a few moments, knowing every second standing still was another opportunity for a bullet to occupy the space where his body was idle. He started to pant wildly, releasing adrenaline-stoked shrieks into the air as he then stared up at the sky with eyes clenched tightly shut. Your family is not only your siblings, your parents back home, or your battalion. That child is as well. It is never too late. Grasping the scimitar tightly in his hand, he watched his men march up the hill with the artillery. Several were being torn into shreds of flesh before him, and before this child. He ran toward the child, who was precariously close to the main battle line between the two forces, close enough that the buzz of bullets caused the child's mangy, yet fair hair to flutter as they zipped past. His battalion, following orders from higher-ranking officers, marched in another direction. Two separate elements of American soldiers ran toward them at staggered intervals, causing him to stammer. He was now standing alone in the middle of no man's land, of this battlefield, though had remained undetected to them. His attention remained fixed upon the child. He was worth it, said the scientist, the words drifting from his lips, gentle enough to soothe the sorrows of all souls on that hill. He's worth it, said the officer, now charging at full speed toward the child, a look of unstoppable conviction sweeping his face. He grabbed the child and darted towards the wooded area to his left. He saw a dilapidated cabin just inside the tree line and sprinted towards it, hoping against hope that it would provide sufficient cover to shield the child from further failures of humanity upon itself. That's it for this section, guys. I'll come at you with the next one later. Love y'all. Peace.